The thoughts can change your life with me, Reverend Lee. So today, people are throwing things around. This is true, that's true, this is true, that's true. Here's the question. Where's your proof? I hear someone get up on them in a video, in a broadcast, whatever it is, and say, this is the truth. But they never offer any proof. And if you don't offer any proof, why is it true? It's just an opinion. Do you get that? And just about everything is an opinion. And so the proof of any truth is in the practical use of it. So if something is true and you use it and it works, that means there's truth to it. But we don't look at that. Or we let people get away by telling us partial proof, not total proof. Isn't that interesting? Here's what I know. I have agreements in my marriage. And those agreements are truth for Jean and I. And you would say, why are they truth? Well, because we use them and they work for us. The number one agreement that Jean and I have is we ask for what we want when we want it. And if we don't ask, the other is not responsible for reading the other's mind. That makes it easy. And we use that all the time. All the time. That's our number one agreement. It's not only my number one agreement with my wife, but anyone that's close to me, it's my agreement with them. If you don't ask me, I can't read your mind, and I'm not responsible, and I'm not going to waste any time trying to read your mind. So I've given you an opinion. Now, this opinion is not true for you until you prove it for yourself. You've got to discern whether or not it works for you. Jean and I have another agreement, and that agreement is that in a social situation, if she says to me, I want to come first, then I stick with her. If she says, I'm cool, then I can work the room. I'm a social butterfly. I'm an extrovert. And I'll just go out there and I'll be Lee. But we have an agreement that if she asks, she comes first. We've got agreements on how we use our money together. We have agreements on our physical relations with each other. We had agreements on raising our children. We have an agreement with each other on the type of grandparent we're going to be. And we use those agreements and we prove them. And if they don't prove out to be right, we change the agreement. So here's what I know. People talk about the benefits of meditation. They're not benefits until you prove them for yourself, until you have the experience. But once you prove something to yourself and it does work for you, then you've got to ask the question, if I'm not doing it, why am I not doing it? And the only thing I can think of is that you don't feel worthy of the result of that change. And basically, all of my counseling that I do comes down to that. Most people have lack in their lives, have confusion in their lives, have drama in their lives because they don't feel worthy of the greatness that they can achieve. And here's the key thing. Think about it and then prove it for yourself. Don't take my word for anything. That's one of the foundations of my being a teacher. Is I tell people right up front, don't believe me. Don't believe a single thing I say until you prove it for yourself. We are the center of our own universe because we are the center point of consciousness through which our lives are experienced. So Mona Lisa, I agree with that. Completely agree with that. It is only through our eyes that the experience of our lives can be done. It's only through our senses that the experience of our lives can be felt. No one else is at the center of our lives. We are the main character in our movie. Not only are we the main character in our movie, we're the producer, the director, the writer. We are the secondary characters. We can change the plot anytime we want. Do you get that? If you're testing something and you can't prove it for yourself, then move on to something else. Don't keep doing something you can't prove. You got to have evidence. When people give me their opinions, I thank them. If they're really close to me and we have a relationship, then I'll say something. I said, so tell me, how have you proven that? Is there proof that you can cite for me that I can look into, or I can test and prove for myself? It's an interesting concept, isn't it? But in order to do that, what has to happen? We have to begin to accept personal responsibility, that we are the masters of our life, that our lives are truly how we look at the world. It is the filter through which we look that determines our experience. In truth, in opinion, or science says that all I am is a wave of energy. I'm a wave of energy, and I get to change its frequency. I'm looking at what Mona Lisa just wrote. Think about this, Rev. If I changed, I wouldn't be able to observe the change. I can see that everything changes because I don't change. I'm not following. I know the observance of a change is only in our ability to compare against something from the past. If we're fully in the now and we're not comparing, then we can't see the change. We can only observe what we see now. So then I might follow that and go, is who I am right now the best expression of love that I can be based on what I believe love to be? Then I don't have to think about change. I just become the greatest expression of love in that moment. And so that's what I truly believe about our experience here. Our experience is, how can I have a greater and greater and greater experience of love in just about everything that I come in contact with? And if I'm aware, that becomes an easier experience for me to prove. But if I'm unaware, I forget. And that's what happens with our ego. Our ego gets attached to the way things are, and we forget that we can go beyond the ego, that we're not the ego. We're so much more than the ego. Like we're not the body. We're so much more than the body. If you can observe it, it's not who you are. You are that which observes. And I'll be honest with you, I can't define that. Can you? I can't define that. Who is aware of the change? The best answer I've got is, I don't know. I think it's me. I believe that the one thing I know about Lee is that Lee is aware to some extent. And because of his awareness, through the feedback of his senses, through that awareness, he has an experience. I know that if I change my mental atmosphere about things, I change the type of experience. And what I'm not saying here is that one type of experience is better than another. I'm saying it's just an experience. And if you think about it, if you think about life right now in the physical body, isn't it all about just experience? So then the question is not only to ask, who are you? What is the experience you like? And do I have any tools that I can use to create that experience? Well, you do have tools. You have the ability to imagine. You have the ability to create a mental image. You have the ability to create an emotional image. In other words, you have the ability to create a belief. You have the ability to take action in alignment with that belief. And then doing that, you then can what? See what the outcome is of the belief. And then you might say, well, I'll adjust. Or you don't adjust. You might just say, I'm going to build a different belief. Life is a ball. There's so much to test, so much to experience, so much to see, hear, smell, taste, and feel. I'm going to invite you every morning when you wake up. I love my life. Every day as you're going through your day, I love my life. Every night before you go to sleep, I love my life. Because if you don't, no one else cares. With that, make it a great day and love your life today. Until tomorrow, aloha.